The Moeraki Boulders of New Zealand's South Island are one of the most fascinating natural wonders of the world. These large, spherical rocks litter Cocoa Beach near the town of Moeraki on the Otago coast. Looking almost like giant eggs deposited on the sand, the boulders range in size from smaller than a basketball to over 6 feet in diameter. And new ones continue to emerge from the sandstone cliffs behind the beach. Over the centuries, the Moeraki Boulders have accrued many legends and mysteries about their formation and meaning. The scientific explanation. Geologists have studied the Moeraki Boulders and determined they were created through the cementation of Paleocene mudstone around 60 million years ago. The mudstone accreted into concretions of calcite, forming the boulders. Erosion of the cliffs has exposed the boulders, which periodically roll down onto the beach as the soft mudstone wears away. This explains their spherical shape and the way new boulders emerge fully formed from the mudstone, while the scientific explanation satisfies how the boulders were created. The legends and mysteries surrounding them speak to a deeper human fascination with these spherical stones. The Moeraki Boulders have accrued symbolic and spiritual meaning for the indigenous Maori people, early European settlers, and the many travelers who visit them today. Their emergence from the living stone of the cliffs imbues the boulders with a sense of mystery. Legends of the first discoverers. Several origin stories describe how the Moeraki Boulders were first discovered by native Polynesians, long before Europeans arrived in New Zealand. In one tale, the legendary Polynesian chief and explorer Cute came across the boulders after being blown off course on a journey from Hawaii. He named them Te Kaihanaki, meaning food basket, envisioning them as provisions for his voyage. Another account claims a Polynesian seafarer named Tamareti found refuge on the beach during a storm. In the morning light, the large boulders surrounding the man looked like the remains of an abandoned native village. Tamareti named the place Te Mato Mui, meaning Maui's lizard, comparing the boulders to the petrified lizard of Maui, a well-known Polynesian mythological hero. The Moeraki Boulders feature in many local Maori legends, often linked to important food sources. Besides food basket, they are also known as eel baskets in reference to the plentiful tuna eels once gathered from a nearby river. This reveals how the natural landscape provided essential resources for indigenous tribes. The boulders marked a site of nourishment and plenty for the original people of the land. Pioneer legends from European settlement. When early Scottish pioneers arrived in the 19th century, the Moeraki Boulders gained new mythologies around ruined cities and extinct giants. Europeans viewed the enormous spherical rocks as distinctively unnatural, requiring explanation. In the late 1800s, an elder of the Moeraki Maori shared a legend with European settlers, describing how the boulders originated from a wrecked waka canoe belonging to a race of mythical island giants. The story went that the giants were voyaging to New Zealand when their waka struck trouble along the coast. Many of the giants drowned, while others hurled bags of food ashore for survival, meant to seed the new land. These bags transformed into the boulders found along the beach. Other pioneers imagined the perfectly rounded boulders comprised the ruins of an ancient lost city, populated by an advanced but forgotten civilization. Fanciful speculation suggested the few boulders still visible were leftovers from a wrathful sea god who had submerged the entire city beneath the ocean waves. Such myths cast the Moeraki Boulders as ominous relics from elder ages and lost peoples, hinting at sunken histories and mysteries buried deep in the past. The pioneers expressed both wonder and unease at these strange spheres on the beach, so unlike ordinary rocks. Their imagined explanations emphasize how the boulders kindled a sense of mystery about forgotten legends and unknown scientific origins. Local folklore and whimsical names. As local settlements grew around the Moeraki Boulders through the 19th century, fanciful folklore and nicknames became attached to individual boulders. The rock formations took on distinct identities in the popular imagination of the early European settlers. The Moeraki Boulders are often grouped together in clusters along the beach, with striking, evocative names applied to each formation. The turtle group features several large boulders that resemble a group of turtles emerged from the sand. Another collection is dubbed the Brothers, after two stones of equal size sitting side by side. The twin spherical honeymoon couple rests together, forever linked like newlyweds. Other titles like King and Queen, The Brain, and The Basket of Eggs similarly conjure vivid anthropomorphic images. Local legends say the boulders shuffle around at night when humans aren't watching, which might explain how they ended up in such lifelike arrangements. More pragmatically, the shifting tide probably deposited the boulders in clusters, while wind and water erosion sculpted their finished shapes. Of the individually named Moeraki boulders, the most famous is Te Kaihanaki from the Polynesian discovery legend. Its Maori name means tide collector because it became stranded high on the beach. Yet every night, the rising tide would come to cover it before receding. Te Kaihanaki was a revered visiting place for native women seeking fertility and good fortune. The boulder was sadly destroyed in a storm in the 1990s. Another renowned boulder is the Cannonball, which measures over 6 feet across. Local tradition claims a Moeraki settler named John O'Groats purposely used gunpowder to blow it apart, hoping to find gold hidden inside. O'Groats failed to find any treasures, and today just a third of the original boulder remains. This tradition of naming and storytelling reflects the sense of wonder and mystery that the Moeraki boulders inspired in early settlers. Their shapes invited flights of fancy and whimsy, revealing the human imagination projected onto the natural landscape. Maori legends: food, fertility, and spirituality. For the indigenous Maori, the boulders carry cultural meaning, not just curiosity. Names like Food Basket and Eel Basket stem from how vital the Moeraki boulders once were for resource gathering and tribal nourishment. Beyond food, they are connected to fertility and the spiritual realm. In Maori mythology, anomalously shaped stones and rocks are linked to Tupuna ancestors and guardianship. The round, womb-like shape of the Moeraki boulders associate them with Papat Nuku, the Earth Mother who nourishes all life. Some legends tell of how the boulders are eggs of a monstrous reptilian Tanawa supernatural creature. They were deposited on shore after a male Tanawa dragged his mate too far from the ocean's protection. For Maori women, Te Kaihanaki provided contact with Rikinui, the Sky Father. Infertile or menstruating women would sit upon the boulder to enhance their mana prestige and remove tapu taboo. Custom also required women to avoid the boulders during pregnancy. One myth claims the Moeraki boulders originate from eel baskets hauled aboard the canoe of the legendary voyager Cuyp. As his canoe neared shore, Cuyp asked his daughters to quickly process the eels. In their haste, they spilled the precious eel eggs, which transformed into the boulders now seen on the beach. This emphasizes how the boulders link to feminine domains of food gathering, procreation, and fertility. Overall, the Moeraki boulders feature strongly in Maori cosmology as sacred symbols of birth, life, and the intimate connection between the earth and mortal realm. They reveal how the spiritual world manifests through the natural landscape. Legends of buried treasure and pirate gold. Wherever curious spherical rocks appear along the coastline, local legends abound that pirates buried treasure nearby. The buried bounty became fused into fanciful stories explaining the origins of the boulders themselves. Some legends claim the Moeraki boulders are the lost cargo of a sunken treasure ship bound for Otago. The crew hurriedly buried chests of gold and jewels on shore for later retrieval, then covered the pits with large round stones as markers. Over time, the buried cache transformed into calcified rocks. Adventurous souls still tried digging beneath the boulders seeking pots of gold, despite repeated disappointment. A similar tale describes how a sea captain bound for Dunedin Harbor stashed barrels of rum and Spanish doubloons beneath the beach stones. But he was killed in a barroom brawl before recovering his loot, and the rising tide melted the barrels into the boulders found today. There are stories of past boulders cracking open to reveal sparkling gold hidden inside, lending credence to the legends. During the 1860s gold rush in Otago, the Moeraki boulders gained fresh appeal as mystical treasure markers. Gold miners scrutinized the beach, believing the giant stones signified untapped veins of gold awaiting discovery in the cliffs behind. Cannonballs were exploded against boulders in fruitless attempts to unlock the elusive glittering wealth. The notion of the boulders as disguised treasure still captures popular imagination. It reflects the romantic desire to find hidden value from the past, waiting to be unlocked and restored to the modern day. For now, the secrets remain buried, the treasure fused into stone. But legends persist, promising rewards for those clever and fortunate enough to decipher the boulder's codes. Messages from distant worlds. As scientific knowledge advanced in the 20th century, the cosmic origins of the Moeraki boulders became apparent to modern astronomy. Their near-perfect spherical shapes closely resemble meteors formed in zero gravity. This seeded wild new speculation that the boulders were not natural to Earth at all. Erich von Daniken's famous 1968 book Chariots of the Gods proposed the Moeraki Boulders were artificially created on distant planets eons ago. The round stones operated as cargo pods or spacecraft, which visited ancient Earth on interstellar voyages. As evidence, von Daniken cited local Maori myths telling of shining vessels containing strange beings, not unlike modern UFO sightings. In this ancient astronaut theory, the Moeraki Boulders represent alien artifacts washed ashore from unknown civilizations across the universe. Their presence on Earth hints at advanced interplanetary travel predating humanity. While firmly in the realm of pseudoscience, it illustrates how the boulders continue sparking cosmic visions and imaginative speculation about their origins. Natural mysteries of formation. Apart from legends and myths, the Moeraki Boulders retain an air of natural mystery and complexity around how they actually formed. Their near-perfect shapes and smooth, exposed surfaces seem almost too precise to be natural. The gradual process by which spherical stones emerge from the cliffs contradicts the common conception of rocks as fixed and permanent. In reality, the boulders remain dynamic, growing, shrinking, and changing their round shapes over years. Some appear to pulse with growth rings, almost like living organisms. Close study reveals the internal structure of the boulders consists of multiple layers of varying hardness and composition. Differential erosion rates between the muddy layers results in undercutting and collapse, forming the rounded shapes. A thin, hardened crust protects the mudstone interior from quick erosion. Many boulders split open or expel mud from their cores, revealing the ongoing metamorphic changes within. In July 2011, eyewitnesses saw fluid mud pouring from a boulder as a new stone spawned before their eyes. Such odd behavior adds to the sense of mystery around the Moeraki Boulders as more than just simple rocks. The boulders draw attention to how even inert stones remain active participants in natural cycles of erosion, periodic exposure, and gradual chemical change over eons. These processes, imperceptible to human lifetimes, make the boulders seem quasi-alive and mystical. The Moeraki Boulders will continue to absorb legends as their story remains ongoing. Spiritual allure for stone circles and ritual. The captivating natural mystique of the Moeraki Boulders has attracted modern spiritual followers who congregate among the stones to meditate and find hidden meanings. The boulders now feature in New Age ceremonies, pagan gatherings, solstice celebrations, and assorted rituals. Some visitors build symbolic cairns and stone circles using smaller boulders, imagining themselves as ancient druids. At night, the Moeraki Boulders take on a haunted grandeur beneath the southern stars, popular for camping. Local legends warn it's risky to sleep too near the boulders, lest you awake in the distant past or far future. Fossiker's Cottage, located near the boulders, serves as a gathering place for spiritual workshops and retreats. The cottage gets its name from early fortune hunters who dug beneath the boulders for treasure. Today, seekers continue that quest in metaphorical ways, mining the stones for insight and divination. To many, the fields of spherical boulders evoke a power and mystery that cannot be explained rationally. The Moeraki Boulders will likely continue attracting visionaries and philosophers, pondering existence itself through quiet contemplation of their shapes scattered across the beach. This reveals their enduring allure as conceptual symbols more meaningful than ordinary rocks. Contemporary creative inspiration. The artistic qualities of the Moeraki Boulders stimulate creative impulses in painters, poets, sculptors, and designers, drawn to them as distinctive natural sculptures and canvases. Their aesthetic richness and multicultural mythology make the boulders iconic muses. Several contemporary New Zealand painters capture the boulders in sweeping coastal landscapes that highlight their alien quality on the beach. Shane Cotton portrays geometrically perfect orbs floating in a surreal seascape disconnected from any earthly moorings. In contrast, Robin Slow gives the boulders weight and permanence astride the breaking waves. Poets describe the boulders as orb brothers to Earth's origins, with metaphors like the beachhead of a stone invasion army who never marched. Sculptors shape raw materials to mirror the smooth curves and holes of the Moeraki spheres. Abstract wall hangings evoke cosmic eggs, planetariums, and cave wombs using boulder motifs. The boulders even inspired the biomorphic forms of the Moeraki Pavilion meditation space at the 2011 Venice Biennale and New Zealand's Expo 2020 Desert Cube Sculpture in Dubai. Architects continue looking to the stones for biophilic design elements that channel natural geometries with spiritual resonance. This artistic reinterpretation extends the boulders' mythic legacy into the cultural imagination, reinventing them as abstract symbols of existence and spheres of meaning without defined limits or borders. The Moeraki boulders fertilize creativity in ever wider circles of inspiration. Conclusion: the spherical sandstone boulders scattered across Coco Beach draw visitors from around the world who are captivated by the legends, myths, and meanings ascribed to these curious rocks. The Moeraki boulders have accumulated stories over centuries that encapsulate their scientific mysteries, cultural importance, and universal spiritual symbolism. The boulders stand as natural abstract sculptures that fascinate the human mind. Their spherical perfection stirs our imaginations to search for hidden significance in their presence along the shore. The Moeraki boulders continue to stimulate flights of fancy about lost cities, cosmic voyagers, tribal ancestors, and buried treasure. But beyond the myths, the boulders reveal deeper truths about nature's own creative forces, sculpting meaning from inert rock. Their detached perfection comes to represent persistence through gradual change and fundamental cycles that shape worlds. In this light, the Moeraki boulders convey timeless inspiration born from the earth itself. Their legends will keep growing as long as the tides continue to reveal their stony mysteries.